In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. May Allah's peace and blessing be upon His last and final messenger, Muhammad, his household, his companions, and all those who follow his teachings until the end of time. I would like to welcome my sisters to this important yet very realistic and current discussions on the teachings of the Holy Quran and the message that were brought to us by Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, protected, guarded by Allah Himself, so that we know from the original source what we are, or what we ought to do, what we must do to earn Allah's salvation from the hellfire. Because whatever we are doing in this world, of the acts of worship, our salats, our fasting, our hajj, our umrah, our everything, and whatever we are saying here, supplications and praising of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we are all doing this because we want Allah to salvage us from His wrath, from the torment of hellfire, into the everlasting blissfulness of the paradise. This is what we want. We are afraid, we are apprehensive of the torment of hellfire tomorrow. We love, we want, we are working hard to see that we become the permanent residents of Al-Jannah, if possible, Al-Firdaus. Because Al-Jannah Al-Firdaus is for the highest echelon of Allah's servants. But we always say, may Allah grant him Al-Jannah Al-Firdaus. Somebody that hasn't been praying 5 times daily on appointed time, somebody else, anybody, just anybody, you say, give him Al-Jannah Al-Firdaus. It is too much for us. There are things that you know it is too much for you because you didn't work for it. But all the same, may Allah grant us His grace, His blessings, His mercies after our death and even before our death. We are still in this beautiful, this fully loaded verse of the Holy Quran. وَأَقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةَ. Is it the one? No.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم واستعينوا بالصبر والصلاة وإنها لكبيرة إلا على الخاشعين.
We have treated at least 2/4 of this verse. We have treated وَاسْتَعِينُوا بِالصَّبْرِ. We have done that. Seek Allah's help to be steadfast, to be perseverant, to be patient in obeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in everything that He has ordered us or commanded us to do or to say. We also treated as-salat itself, the importance of salat, that we must, and unless under very critical condition, to say the prayers, to establish the prayers on their appointed times, with all that makes salat. The last part is وَإِنَّهَا لَكَبِيرَةٌ إِلَّا عَلَى الْخَاشِعِينَ. Salat, or the two of them, being steadfast and also establishing prayers on the appointed time. There are two things that are very difficult. For you to find somebody who, if anything bad befalls upon him or her, he will return to Allah for solution. He will return to Allah for succor. He will return to Allah for comfort. He will return to Allah for help. There's such kind of people that do that. They are not ordinary Muslims. They are special Muslims. Some Muslims, despite that they call themselves Muslims and they are praying and doing everything, when anything bad befalls upon them, they run to soothsayer, they run to fortune teller, they run to babalawos, they run to all kind of people that claim they have power, special power, that they can compel God to do what their biddings. Such Muslims are not Muslims actually in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They're Muslims. Because the first thing that you will say when anything bad falls upon you is inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. You return to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala immediately with all your emotions, all your feelings. You return to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Because in Islam, and under every circumstances, there's something you will say, there's a praise, there's a supplication you will say. There's a time when you say Allahu Akbar. If something big happens that makes you happy, you see there you say Allahu Akbar, or you say Ya Salam, or you say Alhamdulillah, or you say Masha Allah. If you succeed, a story is given to you that you have passed your examinations. Masha Allah, tabarakallah. Alhamdulillah, alladhi tatimmu salihat. You said this kind of praise. If something bad happens to you, you don't just say, you just say shit. You know, or something fortune befalls you, you say, yes, I did it, yes, yes. No, I made it. You don't say that. In Islam, for everything that happens to you, there is something you will say, and you'll be rewarded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you'll be guided by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if it is something that is bad, Allah will protect you. If it is something that is good coming to your way, Allah will make it come your way. So, inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un, a very, very efficacious prayer in Islam. If anybody says this at the right moment, Allah will definitely come to his help. This is what he said. He will come to the aid of that servant of his. Remember the story of Salma? Salma was an ordinary companion, the wife to one of the companions of Prophet ﷺ. When her husband died, she ran to the Prophet ﷺ and said, Ya Rasulullah, my husband has died. You can see her engulfed in sorrow, in annoyance, despair. He said to her, say, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un, Allahumma ajurni fi musibati wa khalif li khairan minha. Say, from Allah we come, and to him is our return. O Allah, change what has befallen of me that is bad to what is good. And she repeated after him. And I want to tell you, by the time she finished her iddah, which was 4 months, 10 days, the Prophet fell in love with her and sent a delegation to go and ask her if she can marry him. So Allah changed that ordinary husband for her with the most respected servant of Allah on earth, and that's Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Because she said, وَأَخْلِفْ لِي خَيْرًا, and change for me what is better than what I have lost. And Allah changed what she has lost, Abu Salma, with the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, Abu Qasim. This is what you say. But when you start saying, why God, why are you doing this to me? What did I do to you? Have I not been praying my prayers? Haven't I been fasting every week on Monday and Thursday? Didn't I go to Umrah? I perform Hajj 10 times. Why are you doing this? If you ask Allah why, forget, you are not a Muslim. You cannot be a Muslim and ask Allah why. Nobody should ask Allah why. Because Allah has the power to do whatever He wants.
لا يسأل عما يفعل وهم يسألون.
No one shall ask Allah what He's doing, what He did, what He's going to do. It is you, on the other hand, that we are going to be asked even before you do what you're going to do, and you'll be asked when you did what you did, and what you're going to be asked when you are about to do what you want to do. Allah can ask you at any time, but nobody has the right, democracy, to ask Allah that why are you doing this to me? Don't say why to Allah. Never. Never. This is not Islamic. Some people, some other religions, they ask they be going to their parents, why me? Why me? Am I not better than that woman? Am I not better than that lady? Am I not better than that family? Why are you doing this to me? Don't say this to Allah. If you are saying you are actually calling upon you more wrath, more annoyance, more torment in both worlds. So, to be patient and perseverant in obeying Allah, and to be saying your prayers constantly with all the conditionalities, it's really a very tedious task, very difficult task. But there are people whom Allah has made them easy upon them. Illa al-khashi'in, except those who are humble, who fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in all their dealings with Him and other human beings. They said the prayer is a prison. That's why it is difficult. Prayer is a prison of the lower self. While fasting that we do is just denial of its appetites. You just deny yourself of what to eat and what to drink, when to drink, what to eat, what to eat, when to eat. These are the things that have been denied. But you are allowed to talk. You are allowed to move from one place to another. You are allowed to do so many other things while you are fasting. You can go to your work, you can go to your office, you can go to your farm, you can go to your market. All these are allowed for you to go. But don't eat, don't drink, don't mate. But as salat, even though it's a prison, but the prison is very short. Because in salat, you are not allowed to eat, whether it is in the daytime or in the night time. Neither are you allowed to talk or to move from one place to another, from the inner room, from the living room to the courtyard. No, you cannot. You have to stay where you are to say your prayers. So there's no movement in prayers. You can't move from one place to another. No. So you are prisoned because you are before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You are not allowed to do whatever you think you can do, because you are a human being. Fasting denies the appetite for women, food and drinks, but one is able to enjoy other appetites. Like we said, the one who prays is denied all these things, and all his limbs are restrained in the prayer from all appetites. That's why prayer is a greater burden than fasting, than going to Hajj. But the two of them, steadfastness and the prayers, they are really big burden, except for those who have attained the status of khushu. You understand? Now, illa al-khashi'in. Al-khashi' is somebody who has the quality of stillness. He doesn't move an inch. He doesn't murmur a word except which Allah has asked him to do, except with the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. His humbleness is superb, is limitless. Qatada said, khushu, which is humbleness, is the heart where it takes the form of fear and appears outwardly as the lowering of the eyes in the prayer. Meaning, al-khushu is the translation of your fearness of Allah, what you fear, how much you fear of Allah, how much you consider Allah, how much you respect Allah, how much you are obedient to Allah in open and close. That will now translate into your hands, into your eyes, into your ears, into your tongue, into your legs, and all over the body. Which means you are not going to say anything outside which Allah has permitted you to say. Neither would you see or hear or touch or go to any places or anything except that which Allah has permitted you, or except that which is halal. You don't actually transgress the bounds of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's not khushu where you see people actually lowering their heads, or closing their eyes. They don't want to see people because what they think they fear Allah. It's not a drama. It's not fearing of Allah. It's not theoretic. It's not. You don't actually pretend. It is in the mind, and it is translated unconsciously into all your limbs. That's why it is said, "Laysa al-khushu' bi-aqli al-khashish." It is not humility. Humility does not consist eating coarse food, just any kind of food, stale food, perishable food, or wearing coarse cloth, or rough one, or dirty one, or bristly cloth, or abrasive cloth, or you wear tattered clothes. You say, this is wali, this is wali, this is wali. No, it's not like that. It's not by appearance only. It's not by appearance only. It's not by cloth. It's not by talking. It's by action, by talking, and by everything appearance. Humility is to see the noble and the lowly as having the same right over you. How you respect the king, how you respect the ulamas, how you respect the rich, is the same way you respect the poor, the needy, and the lowly people. You treat them with dignity, with respect, with love, with piety. This is how to do it. You don't actually separate. When you see a big man, you quickly go to him and kneel down before him. No. And when you see a poor man, you just look the other way, and you don't care who the person is. No, you don't. You treat the two class of people even more with dignity, with love, with respect, and this is called a taqwa in this respect. That's why it is important, and Allah gave the next description of who are those al-muttaqun. Who are they? who are these people that have attained the status of al-khushu, humility. That the next verse, ayah number 46 of the Holy Quran, will tell us the explanation of actually who is somebody who has attained khushu. Are you among them? Listen to what Allah says.
الذين يظنون أنهم ملاقو ربهم وأنهم إليه راجعون.
الذين يظنون, those people who have attained the status, the class of al-khushu, humility, humbleness, are those who are sure, who have no doubt that they are going to die and meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Those who know that they will meet their Lord at any given moment. At any given moment. You can die anytime. You are sleeping, you can die while sleeping. Many people have died while sleeping. You understand? You can die while driving. Many people have died while driving. You can die while walking. You can die while delivering a speech. You can die even while reading news in the television or in the radio. We have seen many video clips confirming this. So, since you know you are going to die, you have to be careful and choosy of what you say, what you utter, how you talk, what you say, and what you do and where you go. You don't just go to any place. No, you have to be choosy of going to any place. Any place that is not good for people like you who are God-fearing, you shouldn't be there at all. Shouldn't be there. And shouldn't be deceived by anybody to take you there. We are inviting you for a retreat where we're going to have a musical team. We have invited singer so and singer so, female and female. No, tell them, please, I'm sorry, I cannot go. I don't do this kind of things. But when you are invited to do what is good, be the first to be there. There's da'wah, there's tafseer, be the first to go there. Create time out of no time. Create time to come and listen to what Allah says. When you do that, mashallah, tabarakallah, it's part of your assurance that yes, I am ready and I know, I accept that I can meet Allah anytime, anywhere, and under any circumstances. This is only said or believed by people who have attained that humbleness and that taqwa, steadfastness in whatever they do or say. وَأَنَّهُمْ إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ, and they know that definitely one day, in one place, under one circumstances, doing one action or the other, I will die. I will return to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So because of that fear, I will try to be as careful as possible. Just like you are eating fish. Fish is very delicious, it's very sweet, but it has fins inside it. So you won't just eat because you are actually after the deliciousness. That's why you just eat it like this. You have to be careful not to swallow the fin, and that will be another tragedy. So your life should be. You have to be careful, extra careful on what you do or what you say, or where you are or where you will be. Who are your friends? What you discuss with them, what they tell you, and what you tell them. If you take today, we are being conquered and enslaved by social media fora. There are many social media fora of different class. Whatever you are doing, whatever is your test, whatever is your leaning, whatever you want, whatever you think, is available, readily available in the social media, except if you don't know what you want, or except if you don't know where to get what you want. Take, for example, the commonest one, which is called TikTok, and see. You will spend 1 hour without knowing. I think it's only 5 minutes. And 1 hour is a big time. So you waste your time instead of reading the Holy Quran, 1 page of the Holy Quran, 2 pages of the Holy Quran, which you have for every word you are rewarded, for every letter of the Holy Quran you are rewarded 10 words. You don't have time for that. But you can watch 100 episodes in 1 hour without knowing, no stress. Tin, like this. This should not be the character, the traits of a good Muslim woman or a good Muslim man. So Allah said those who, ordinary dhann means who actually are not certain, who are doubtful about something. But in this respect, Allah has rendered them to mean who are certain, who are sure, who believe that they are going to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at a particular time in a particular place. So Allah has rendered adhan in many verses of the Holy Quran to mean certainty and to mean assurance. Allah says in the Holy Quran, Surah Al-Kahf, وَرَأَى الْمُجْرِمُونَ النَّارَ فَظَنُّوا أَنَّهُمْ مُوَاقِعُوهَا وَلَمْ يَجِدُوا عَنْهَا مَصْرِفًا. When the non-Muslims will be thrown into hellfire and they can see the hellfire in front of them, then they become certain that definitely their doubts are cleared, that definitely they are going to be thrown into hellfire. So Allah has used this dhan for them new, and they are certain. They have no doubt that today is the D-Day when they will be thrown into hellfire. Hellfire, you don't actually enter hellfire. You don't enter like this. No, you enter paradise. You walk towards paradise and enter it. But hellfire, you are thrown into hellfire. Or yusallah sa'ira, and they are thrown into hellfire. Understand? So when the sinners see the hellfire, they realize that they will tumble into it. They will tumble into it, and they find no deliverance from it. Nobody will tell them, will ask Allah, please, Allah, those are my friends, they are my neighbors, they are my aunties, they are my uncles, they are my friends. She's my wife. He's my husband. Nobody will call Allah this. No deliverance for them. No deliverance. Whoever dies not a Muslim will have no deliverance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment. Wal-iyadhu billahi. Continue. Ya Bani Israel.
Ya Bani Israel, اذكروا نعمتي التي أنعمت عليكم وأني فضلتكم على العالمين.
You know, we read where Allah also called Bani Israel, whom we say they were the children, the grandchildren, the great-grandchildren of Yaqub, who was the son of Abraham. Ibrahim had children. One of them was Ismail, who was the father of Arabs, who was the first man to speak Arabic language in the world. So this Israel were the brothers and the families of Yaqub, of Yusuf, who was the son of Yaqub, who was thrown in the well, who was discovered and found and sold to the king of of uh, of Egypt. So when he ascended the power in Egypt, he invited all his family, his brothers, his cousins, and everybody, and they came to Egypt and settled in Egypt, and they became the children of Israel. And when they sinned against Allah, Allah debased them and brought Pharaoh, who imprisoned all of them, and they became his servants. And they actually passed several stages of torment and punishments by Israel, by Pharaoh. So then Allah sent Moses and Harun, the two passengers of Allah were sent to deliver them from the torment of Pharaoh into freedom. And a Torah was revealed upon them. And then those who believed in Moses and Harun were actually loved by Allah, and those who rejected were punished in this world and will be punished in the next world hereafter. So Allah is telling them that, O children of Israel, Ya Bani Israel, O the children of Israel, O the children of Yaqub, Udhkuru ni'mati allati an'amtu alaykum. Remember my favor which I bestowed upon you. That is getting the freedom from the shackles of Pharaoh, from being servitude and servants by force under Pharaoh. Remember that. And before you, I destroyed Pharaoh and his army and gave you back Egypt with all that is in Egypt. Remember this. This is a favor that I have done to you. So remember all this that Allah has done to you. And remember that at that time, you were the most loved of all these people in the world by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because Allah has raised from amongst you several messengers and several prophets. From slavery, from a free family of the children of a prophet, to the family, to the preferred family, first family in Egypt, to slaves, worse than donkeys and dogs, now to kings and queens in Egypt, in the world. Remember these favors that have done to you. Worship me and don't disobey me. If you want to sin Allah, Shaitan has win over you. And Shaitan is pushing you to do the wrong things. Remember the bounties of Allah upon you. Remember what Allah has given you, has favored upon you, and don't do that. Remember that Allah has given you good health, has given you good husband, has given you good family, has given you good children, male and female, has given you good friends. Your parents were good. Why are you going to be ungrateful to Allah by sinning against Him? Why? So you stop sinning. When you remember the favors which Allah has given you, this will make you not to sin against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even to sleep, after getting tired during the day, you sleep during the night. That sleep alone, you can't pay Allah. Because how many people are suffering from insomnia? How many people? How many people today are taking 2 drugs of sleep tablets? Some 5 drugs, different types of drugs to sleep. Some even 10. I knew of somebody who was taking like 50 drugs to sleep. I feel his arm with the volume 5, and he will chew and then pour water, and maybe he will sleep only for 1 or 2 hours. That's all. I know some people, that I have met who are doing this in this country, in this country, out of the other part of the world. All the rich men you see, all the people you see in power, they can't sleep. But you, as poor as you are, as poor as I am, if I just put my head on my pillow, 3 minutes, gone. This is blessing of Allah. It's a blessing. And then you look up strong. This is blessing of Allah. So when you remember these kind of blessings, you will know that Allah loves you and that you should not actually sin against Him or disobey Him in anything that He orders you to do. It means people are. Allah says, وَأَنِّي فَضَّلْتُكُمْ عَلَى الْعَالَمِينَ, I have excelled you over and above the people of the world. When it was said by the interpreter of the Holy Quran that this doesn't mean the entire world or until the end of the world, that the Jews or the Bani Israel will be better than human beings. No. At that particular time, they were the best. Why were they the best? Because they obeyed Allah. That's all. Why were they the best? Because Allah has chosen from them some prophets and messengers of Allah. That's what. If they continue to be good servants of Allah, they will remain the best servant of Allah. But as soon as they deviated, they become the worst servants of Allah in the world. So Al-Mufassirun said that it means the people of their time. Because at that time we were not told that there are other countries that Allah has sent prophets. Allah was talking just around Egypt at that time. So we didn't know what happened in the present America. We were not aware of what happened in the present China or the present Russia or the present African countries apart from Egypt. We didn't know about it. Does it mean that no people anywhere except the Jews, except the Bani Israel? This is unknown to us. We don't have the answer to. Nobody has answer to this. Continue, Wala.
واتقوا يوما لا تجزي نفس عن نفس شيئا ولا يقبل منها شفاعة ولا يؤخذ منها عدل ولا هم ينصرون.
This is one of the most frightening verse in the Holy Quran. No Muslim believer will read this verse and will not tremble. No Muslim will read this verse and not have the feeling of something actually as chilly, something going down his spines. No, it actually trembles us, this verse. It shocks us. It makes us more confused and more helpless. Because what Allah has said, and whatever Allah said is true and will definitely come to pass. What is the meaning of this verse? Allah says, Wattaku. He was talking to Bani Israel when he was telling them, remember what I had bestowed upon you, remember my favors upon you, and be good servants. Remember that there's going to be a day, Wattaku yawman, fear a day, beware of a day that is coming. La tajzi nafsin an nafsin shay'a. No one, nobody, no soul can avail another soul in the list. Nobody can come to your aid. Nobody can come to your assistance. Nobody will avail himself in front of Allah and say, oh Allah, this man that you want to take to hellfire is my father. Don't take him. He loved me when I was in this world. I loved him when we were in the world. Nobody can do that. Nobody can say to Allah, oh Allah, this man you want to take into hellfire was my president, was my senator, was my house of rep, was my governor, was my local government chairman, was my councillor, was my son, was my grandson, was my friend when we were living in the world. Nobody will come, no matter how high or low you are. Nobody. Nobody can salvage anybody. You can't salvage anybody in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when Allah has actually decided to take that person to hellfire. Nobody, وَلَا يُقْبَلُ مِنْهَا شَفَاعَةٌ, and nobody will come and say, Allah, I want to intercede. Please grant me the intercession to prevent you from punishing this man or this woman or this king or this senator or this president or this poor man. He was our Megad. He was very good. His trust was trustworthy. He was my driver. He's very good. He was this. He was very. Nobody can intercede in front of Allah on behalf of anybody. Everybody was on his own. We were all shaking and trembling in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When Allah will bring the hellfire for people to see their last abode, their last and final abode, their everlasting abode. Nobody can intercede for anybody. So all these sheikhs of different sects that we have, they tell you that if you believe in me, I will intercede in front of Allah tomorrow and I will take you to paradise. There was even one, I think, crazy, I'm sure, because nobody with a sense will say that on the day of judgment he will come with a big gown like my own that has big pocket, and he will carry some of his followers in this world and put them in the pockets and sneak them into paradise without Allah knowing. This is kufr. See that Allah doesn't know something is going to happen, or doesn't know something is happening, or didn't know something has happened. This is kufr. Because if you associate Allah with ignorance, you are in trouble. There is nothing that happened which wasn't decreed by Allah to happen at that particular moment, in that particular place, in the same way it happened. No. So presently and so in the future. Nothing. So nobody can come and say, even prophets were afraid of what will become of them on the day of judgment. If you read Tafseer al-Shafa'ah, which I would have loved that we read, but it's very long tafsir, it's a very long hadith, and will be taken away from the theme of tafsir. You will see how great men and women who have worshipped Allah in this world, they were humbled before Allah. Nobody was not afraid of Allah on that day.
الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض من ذا الذي يشفع عنده إلا بإذنه.
Allah says, "Man dhal ladhi yashfa'u indahu illa bi-idhnihi." Nobody will have the right to intercede on behalf of anybody except with Allah's permission. Nobody. Nobody has that clouds. Say, I know I'm going to paradise, so I'm going to intercede on behalf of that. Nobody is sure. That's why Sayyidina Abu Bakr, the first Caliph after Prophet ﷺ, even though the Prophet told him that Allah has told me to tell you that you are going to enter paradise. You are one of the residents of this ummah to enter paradise. Abu Bakr said, I will not be rest assured. I haven't spoiled my position. I haven't spoiled my work or my deeds. That Allah might have changed to take me hellfire instead of paradise, until when I put my right leg and pull the left leg. When I put my right leg in paradise and then pull my left leg and enters, that's the only time when I'm sure that Allah has not changed his mind to put me in hellfire instead of paradise. Then who has the knowledge? Who has that power? Who has that closeness to Allah that he is sure he will enter paradise? Who? Nobody. Nobody. So for anybody to tell you that, look, I know I'm going to paradise, I will go with you. That person is a crazy person. He should be imprisoned. I'm telling you, that person should be imprisoned. Or at least you take him to the medical center, psychiatric center. Some screws are actually loose in his eye. This is it. وَلَا يَقْبَلُ مِنْهَا شَفَاعَةٌ. Allah will not accept any intercession on behalf of anybody in the next world. وَلَا يُؤْخَذْ مِنْهَا عَدْلٌ. And no ransom will be accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you own whatever, if whatever is in this world is your own property, and you want to give Allah, say, Allah, take this world, don't put me in hellfire, Allah will not accept. Because the world is Allah's property, it's not your own property. You didn't create the world, it's Allah's property. Wallahi, on that day, people were ready to give their wives as ransom for them to escape hellfire. Their wives. And wives are ready to give their husbands to escape the wrath of Yawm al-Qiyamah. And children were ready to take their father and their mother to escape the wrath of hellfire on that day. People were ready to do that. Friends were ready to exchange for their freedom, to hand over their friends to hellfire, and they escape hellfire. وَلَا هُمْ يُنْصَرُونَ. And nobody will step before Allah and say to Allah, by virtue of my status in the world, I was an emperor, I was very powerful, I have conquered many nations. Release this man, it's my son. Release this woman, she's my wife. Release this woman, she's my mother. Release this woman, she's my daughter. Release this woman, she's my sister. Release this woman, she's my auntie. Release this woman, she's my cousin. No. Nobody has that audacity to come in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and say this to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you human being, O servant of Allah, why are you arrogant? Why are you hesitant in not submitting to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this world by doing His will and obeying His laws and orders in preparation for that particular day? Why are you hesitant? Why are you dragging your legs, my sister? Why are you doubting what's going to happen on the day of judgment, my sister? Why? Submit to Allah. We ought to submit to Allah. We must submit to Allah in order to escape the anger of Allah, the punishment of Allah, the torment of hellfire on that day, and the wrath of Allah on that day, and the fear that will engulf everybody on that day if they die without being Muslims. Allah says, وَلَا تَمُوتُنَّ إِلَّا وَأَنْتُمْ مُسْلِمُونَ. Never, ever allow yourself to be killed or to die naturally without being a Muslim. Never. To as much as possible, under all circumstances, to remain Muslims. To remain Muslims. Let no torture make you change your Islam. Let no poverty make you change your Iman. Let no pleasure and grandeur to make you change your Iman. Never change. Because people change when they are depressed, when they are pressed with poverty. People change when they see so many enjoyment. They change. They will stop praying. Why should they pray? After all, they have gotten the world. They shouldn't pray. So let nothing change you. Always remain Allah's servant, obedient servant, loyal servants, and the trustworthy servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I think I will leave the tafsir of this ayah until tomorrow when we come, inshallah, so that we will have enough time to see what does this verse means, and also to see how this verse is related to our lives in this world and in the next world. Because it is not Yawm al-Qiyamah, it's not like this world, where when somebody is arrested by a policeman, you can go and bail him. No. Or when somebody is taken to court, you can hire for him the best lawyers in Nigeria, sons. There, I'm telling you, no bail, no lawyers can stand on before Allah to argue with Allah that during the time you have committed this sin, you are still a young man, and you know young people are exuberant, and you know young. No, you can't say this to Allah. You cannot say this to Allah. Can't. Everybody was on his own. We are hiding away. We are hiding away from our parents, and our parents are hiding away from us. We are hiding away from our husbands, and our husbands are hiding away from their wives. Children will be hiding away from their parents, and brothers from their brothers, and cousins from their cousins. And everybody was trying to hide away from someone he has lived with in this world. So the life is different. The scenario is different. It's different. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in His infinite mercy make us one of those that He will forgive all their sins and shortcomings. May Allah make us those that will inherit Al-Jannah Yawm Al-Qiyamah. May our judgment be very simple before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah guide us aright in this world, to do what's right in this world, to obey Him correctly, and also to continue to ask for His favor to continue with us even after our death. May Allah grant this country good leaders who are pious, who are just, who are trustworthy, who are God-fearing, who love Nigeria, who love Nigerians, who will work for Nigeria and Nigerians, who will make Nigeria greater once more. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect all of us from the fear and apprehension that we are all suffering. We can't travel in one piece. You can't sleep on your bed in one piece. You can't even go to your farm in one piece or your market in one piece. Things are happening that actually threatens us and threatens our peace. May Allah bring us tranquility in this country, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive all of us and accept our fasting and our supplications and our prayers and our rihada of the Holy Quran and our offerings. May Allah make us those who will enter paradise from the gate of the Rayyan, the gate of those people who fast يوم القيامة. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. آمين.